The GOAT. I gotta get credit when credit is due. Y'all see what type of hat I'm wearing right now. So you already know who I really think the GOAT is, but he is the GOAT right now. You feel what I'm saying? 7 of them things. The resume is impeccable. You dig 23 seasons, 22, 23 seasons. You dig what's in the longevity, the early success in his career, the late success in his career. You dig? Oh, come on, man. Tap in. Tom Brady. Let's get it. Joel Klatt. What up?
You really enjoy or don't enjoy about what's going on in the college space right now?
It's a really loaded question.
The One Piece shirt is crazy, though. You an anime fan, Tom Brady? That's tough. If I get Tom Brady credit if he watched every episode of One Piece. If you know, you know, bro. It's a lot of episodes, bro.
Yep.
And I mean, you look at your own personal experience with college football and the blessing that college football was for me, and how it really propelled me into a successful college career.
Okay.
And a successful professional career.
Mm-hmm.
And there were so many lessons that I learned in college about competition,
Yep.
about growing up, about responsibility and accountability, about team, about decision making, about work ethic, about leadership.
Mm-hmm.
All those sustainable traits that I learned at Michigan through not only kind of my experience, but watching some of the other incredible men that I got to be a part of on that team and teams that I was a part of.
I feel like if you've been a part of a team, bro, like I don't care if it's little league, junior high school, college, to the pros, bro. It's just like it's an aspect of life that you just won't ever forget. Everything that you'll learn in football or even basketball, but mostly football is pertaining to life. You feel what I'm saying? So, and then when you get around other people and they haven't had that, or they've had different types of teams that's totally different from that aspect, it kind of throws you off for just a little bit, bro. Because it's like you got some people out here that don't really know what team is. You feel what I'm saying? Or they don't know how to be a part of a team, or don't know how to put themselves aside for the team. So for him to be the quarterback playing the most important position on the field, you feel what I'm saying, for a team, and then for him to mention team, for sure, that's a W.
That, for my entire life, I can look back on and be grateful. I didn't go to 3 different colleges. I didn't leave college when it seemed like I wasn't going to play. You know, wasn't at college to do anything other than have a great college experience, to go to school, to have camaraderie with my teammates, and to compete at a high level. That's really where the focus was. And at a young age, that's where I think the focus needs to be. And the commercialization of what's happened in college sports, I wonder whether many kids these days will learn those sustainable traits that I think are invaluable to their life and life experience. Are we doing them a disservice because we're tempting them with
money,
some money in their pocket?
The quick dollar.
The quick dollar.
But they should get paid though. They should get paid.
And it's very intriguing to get that quick dollar. But I don't think that. Look, I was in college. We had a $400 scholarship check. It seemed like I was rich. It really did. I'm sure most kids felt like that. We got pizza cards to go to dinner, and we had training table, and it was an amazing experience. And we didn't think about the money. And these kids are such young ages. Their frontal lobes aren't even fully developed yet. And now we're tempting them with real life adult situations, and their parents, and now they have agents.
Yep.
I'm sure it's a very confusing time. And I'm sure a lot of parents are confused. I'm sure a lot of kids are confused. But because we're just talking about money, like that's the only value in college? Is that what we're saying?
That's a good point. But it's also preparing them, just like the Cincinnati player that got drafted. It also is preparing them for when they enter the NFL draft, and this same agent that's probably been with them since they was in college, or if they got a new agent, or whatever the case may be, their family that dealt with some of that early on. You feel what I'm saying? You get into these situations with all NFL teams are not the same when it comes down to contracts, as we can see, as the Cincinnati Bengals try to do what they did with Bro. So it's pros and cons to that.
That's, to me, the priorities are a bit messed up.
And not only money, but where can I go immediately
To
in
make-
order to
yeah.
get that money?
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
so no longer is it I'm going to
The best school.
work, I'm going to develop,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take weaknesses and make them strengths in order to win a job here. I'm just going to say, where's an open job? All right, I'm going to go over there. So that
And take the money. Yeah, I can understand that. But that's also you had this thing within college football doing this, basically doing the Nick Saban tenure where I just want to go to this school. I want to go play with the best players because they're going to make it to the national championship. I'm going to get the most exposure because they wasn't getting paid. So now it's about I want to be seen so I can get drafted high so I can get paid. So at the end of the day, they was doing things to not only I'm pretty sure they was doing it for the college experience, but also for their future to basically, you know what I'm saying, I want to be able to play on the national stage, which is the, you know what I'm saying, before the college football playoffs, even before the when they had just 4 teams, I want to play in the national championship so I can be seen. You feel what I'm saying? Like I want to play for a predominant, you know what I'm saying, a blue blood college football school so I can be seen. I want to play for Notre Dame. They play on NBC or CBS or whatever it is. You feel what I'm saying? I want to play on, you know what I'm saying, for the SEC, and they get TV time. So I don't like. I think the money aspect of it evened out the playing field for other teams that couldn't compete with other teams and recruiting wise. Now I can pay this. Even so though, because you got some teams that don't got the money to pay these guys, but some teams that do. You feel what I'm saying? So, and I mean like in the Power Fives, like the Power Fives that got the money to pay these type of kids coming out of high school. Everybody's just not going to Alabama. Everybody's just not going to Florida. Everybody's just not going to such and such. You feel what I'm saying? It's more spread it out.
the freedom of movement attached with the money, I think it calls into question really everything that you were talking about the sustainable traits, you know, for the future. Like for instance, would Tom Brady have finished his career at Michigan if the rules were the same then as they are now?
Yeah, it's such a hypothetical situation, a question to think about.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I can answer is to say that based on what my experience was, I wouldn't want it any other way than the way that I did it.
Mm-hmm.
My college experience was very challenging. It was very competitive. The lessons I learned in college that I referred to earlier, and certainly about competition, those traits transformed my life as a professional.
Mm-hmm.
I was ready to compete against anybody because the competition in college toughened me up so much that I had a self-belief and self-confidence in myself that whatever I was faced, I could overcome that. And I think if we take that away from a young student athlete to say, you know what, I know it's tough to compete, but what are we going to do? Before you have to compete, we're actually going to put you somewhere else so that you don't have to compete. That is absolutely the wrong thing to do to.
I agree. I agree with this. I agree with this statement for sure. I agree. For the simple fact that, because even if you look at some of them teams, these memorable teams, and they go on these runs, the Miamis of the old days, the Floridas of the old days, the Alabamas of the old days, the USC of the old days, bruh. If you look at them depth chart, like once somebody go to the NFL, the next person up is just as good. But they had to compete in camp. You feel what I'm saying? Like they gotta compete in camp, bro. You'll be amazed at some of these rosters, like some of these players that's on this roster that's third on the depth chart, second on the depth chart, fourth on the depth chart, can go somewhere else and start. But the competing aspect of it is making you better than going somewhere else that has lesser competition. You feel what I'm saying? And starting over there, it's just, it's hit or miss. You feel what I'm saying? I can go over here and have a 2,000-yard season, but it might be asterisk. It might have an asterisk beside it because you playing for this university. You feel what I'm saying? So that was the dilemma back in the day. Nowadays, it's not like that.
Young child. And I would challenge all the coaches and all the parents. They're the ones that have to guide these kids.
Mm-hmm.
You can't expect a 17 or 18-year-old to make these great decisions. They're young. They don't have life experience. It should be the parents. Be a good parent. Teach your kid the right values. What's going to sustain them in their careers over a period of time? Whether it's football or whether it's business or whether it's teaching or law school or medical school or a trade, whatever you want to do, you're going to have to go through hard things in your life. You're going to have to make tough choices. And the value isn't always about the last dollar. So I think all these things that are happening in college sports, we're prioritizing the wrong things. We're valuing the wrong things. And I'm not saying it's not important. It's one of 10 things that are important.
Yeah.
And certainly to me, it's not the most important. So when kids do go through that the right way, they're actually learning the right values.
Yeah.
And when you have the right values in life, that's going to sustain you as you move on through the rest of your life.
Basically what he's saying is the experience of college, the experience of going through a tough time, the experience of, you know what I'm saying, adversity is somewhat more valuable than money. You know what I'm saying? Because when you do get the money and then you have to, and then that adversity pops up again or shows itself again, you know what I'm saying? You know how to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Because getting the money and not knowing how to deal with adversity or things that happen, you can crash out.
Issue that I see from a football sense, everything that you just said about life is absolutely accurate. And are we setting these men up, these young men up for success in life, you know, aside from football?
Isn't that the job of a parent?
It should be. And I would argue a coach as well.
Yeah, or an administrator.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And that is, in a lot of ways, not afforded in the current system. So let's take it from just a football. Now you see all these young quarterbacks coming to the National Football League.
Yeah.
What do they not have? And what do you think college coaches should be focusing on in development for college quarterbacks?
Before he answers, I want to answer. And I think that the coaches that run schemes based off college football is hurting the quarterback. My opinion. Like, for example, if you look at, okay, you had Notre Dame, right? Notre Dame quarterback Riley. I forgot his last name or whatever, but it's Riley, the quarterback for Notre Dame. If you look at how Notre Dame ran their offense, you know what I'm saying, it was a lot of zone read, a lot of quarterback runs. He wasn't that much developed and passing, even though he did show glimpses of that in the national championship when they was trying to make their comeback. Now you look at Shedeur Sanders, and they threw the ball a lot because they couldn't run, but they ran a pro-style offense. He is more ready for the NFL, and he's gonna have better players around him, so he's gonna look better. You feel what I'm saying? He's more ready for the NFL than he would be because he has to learn, you know what I'm saying, the pro-style offense, the reads. He has to get better at throwing the ball. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you can't run the ball as a quarterback, you know what I'm saying, in the NFL like you can in college, like Notre Dame did. You know what I'm saying? They was predominantly, I probably said that wrong, running team. They ran a lot of zone read with Jeremiah Love and Riley Leonard. So that's just my take. Like the style of offense that you run as a quarterback matters in college. That's how you develop quicker and faster in the NFL. Or if that's not the case, if you like, it goes between like having like, okay, say you're Lamar Jackson, you feel what I'm saying? Like, your skill set is so dominant that the scheme has to be made for you. You feel what I'm saying? It has to be made for you, but everybody doesn't have that type of skill set.
I don't think there is much development at this point. There's a lack of development. There's a lack of development at the pro level. In some ways, there's a lack of development. In some ways, they're overdeveloped because they actually are starting at a young age. Maybe there's a physical development that I see that's probably a bit better based on all the instructional videos that are out there on YouTube or Instagram. There are more videos on how to throw a football now than I ever could have imagined.
Private coaches and so on.
Exactly. There's all those. So physically, they're developed, but the mental learning how to study the game, learning the tactics, learning how to watch film, learning how to deal with the emotions of a competitive program, going up against a school rival, failing in front of 70,000 people. I think we're lacking the mental, emotional development. Physically, they may look developed. Mentally, emotionally, they're very underdeveloped. Sometimes their emotional growth is stunted by the fact that everybody is telling them how great they are all the time, or that it's not their fault all the time. You go lose a game, it's not your fault, honey. It's someone else's fault. You know, the team aspect of sports is always, it's always about us. Bo Schembechler at Michigan used to say, the team, the team, the team. And that was a great thing for me to learn, because for me, when I got to the pro level, the only way that I could see us winning a championship was a group of men collectively coming together to try to accomplish this great goal.
And that's why a lot of like this. That's why I said at football, I think my mom putting me in football. It's not even my mom put me in football. Like how I got started in football is going outside playing with the fellas, man. As a youngin, not knowing what to do, just raw skill. And I was probably like, I probably was some trash, but everybody else was kind of like trash too. You feel what I'm saying? Then my friends came back like one summer, and I seen them with like football pants on, football pads and all that, and they had got way better. They had got way better. And I'm like, man, where y'all? What, like at one time they was going for like, it was like August, the start of like training camp or whatever the case may be. They're like, man, you could come, you know what I'm saying? We walk to practice or whatever, walk to the field. I ain't know a soul. By the time that practice was over, I knew almost everybody on that field. The coach came to my house or whatever, knocked on the door, asked my mom, could he, you know what I'm saying, can he play woody-woo? Like on some college shit though. And like ever since then, bro, that's why football will always be my first love, bro. I love sports. I love basketball, baseball, car racing, anything that's sports, golf, tennis, but like football will always be my first sport, my first love, because like it chose me. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit chose me, bro. So that's why I'm like, I get what he's saying, bro. Like you gotta, like, I feel like to make it to the NFL and to be that 1%er, because this is like 1% chance for you have to also have the genetics, but you gotta love that shit, bro. Like I love everything about the game, the history of the game, the film of the game, the plays of the game, like everything, bro. The helmets, the colors, the camaraderie, everything, bro. Bro, you couldn't tell me I wasn't going to the NFL when I was a kid, bro. You couldn't tell me nothing.
It's really freaking hard to do that. You need everybody invested in the success of the team. So when you have those lessons, that is a very important structure for you to have. You got to be able to rely on your teammates. You have to be able to rely on your coaches. You have to develop the resilience with you, because as an athlete, as a broadcaster, whatever job you choose in life, you're going to have to work your way up.
Facts.
And the more you're entitled to something, the less you're actually going to learn about the reasons why you can become successful.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Entitlement is littered throughout all of our sporting world, even down to the youth sports, which I'm dealing with young kids. You're dealing with your kids as well. Before we go to the NFL, because I want to ask you about a couple of the quarterbacks in the NFL, but your old coach is now in college football.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick at North Carolina. I'm as interested as any.
Yeah.
You would be the first one I would come to and say, like, what are those players in for?
I'm very interested too as well. What they're going to get is obviously the most prepared, the most hardworking coach that I'd ever been around. If you go to that school, you will be prepared to play at the next level. He's going to teach you the right fundamentals, the right techniques. He's going to have a high expectation for you, and you're going to develop a lot. That's what I know. I think the challenge for him is he's dealing with a lot of probably underdeveloped players, because he's dealt with guys that are 4, 5, 6 years further along than what he's normally had to deal with. So I think there's probably a learning curve for him, and this is me hypothesizing. It's not, I don't have much knowledge of it, but I'm sure it's different coaching a 17 or 18-year-old than even a 22 or 23-year-old. So there's just probably less physically developed. And he's a very deep thinker of the sport. I mean, I think what makes Coach Belichick so unbelievable tactically, he can break down an opponent. He watches so much film. He is so smart with how he approaches defensive schemes and offense.
And that's what I feel like. I think that's what separates a lot of, because it's a lot of good quarterbacks, bro. It's a lot of talented players, bro. But like that film study, bro. And you hear players talk about it all the time. The ones that we call them ones, they talk about film, bro. They talk about film. And you gotta learn how to look at film, bro. Like you gotta learn to look at film. It's multiple ways to look at film. You could break it down, and the team aspect. You can break it down to a certain position. You could break it down to, you know what I'm saying, just like as a player trying to get an advantage, you know what I'm saying, looking at somebody's toes, looking at somebody leverage, and if he leans that way, leans to the right, leans to the left. If they line up like this, 9 times out of 10 is like just knowing, bro. That's what made Luke Kuechly a great linebacker, bro. It's like he kind of knew what was going to happen before it happened, bro. How can you not be great and you know what's going to happen before it happens?
Offensive schemes, and how much can these young kids retain? That may be an interesting challenge as well, because in some ways they're not professional. They don't have as much time as we had as professional athletes to go in there and study film and practice and meet and all that, and they don't have that amount of time at the college level.
I mean, I can't wait to watch it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be totally into that. 6 current quarterbacks in the National Football League have won Super Bowls. There is a really good group of guys that have not won a Super Bowl. Of that group, names like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Herbert, Daniels, maybe other Stroud. Of that group, who do you see as maybe the next guy that gets that ring?
So, I mean, naturally, most people would say Lamar or Josh, and because they've been the closest. Championship games, MVPs, they have the highest expectation. I mean, football is different. It's like every year you start right at the bottom with everyone else. And
Right.
I don't love predictions and hypothesizing because it's up to them. It's not up to the words I say, or it's not even up to the words they say. It's what they do over the next 6 months with their teammates and coaches in order to put themselves in a position to be successful.
Are there guys in the league that you really respect the way they go about their business, or maybe remind you of you?
I think from afar, I can only tell so much because, you know, if I was in there every day, I could see their habits.
Yeah.
It's always that line about who wants to win versus who's willing to do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah, because everyone wants to.
Everyone wants to win.
Everybody want to win, but is you willing to do what it takes? And that's what this guy do, bruh. Y'all was talking down about this man, Patrick Mahomes. I play for the Chiefs, bro. His numbers is going down, this, that, and the third, bruh. He don't, bruh. It's about the dub. Last year it was about the dub and getting the 3-peat, bro. That's what it was about. Whatever it takes, bruh. And it just so happens that we had some receivers get hurt, and we had to find a way to make that shit work. We got lucky on some wins on the defensive end, on the special teams end. You dig what I'm saying? But overall, bruh, we got back to the bowl. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't work out. But at the same time, if it ain't about the dub, bruh, your MVPs and all that stuff is cool, but
what are the habits and the daily habits and the actionable things you need to do every day to put your team in a position to win? So Patrick Mahomes to me is the one that does that the most often.
Sure.
Because who he is, I mean, obviously his physical talent, how he understands what he needs to do offensively, and he brings a consistent winning attitude to work every single day. In the biggest moments, you can depend on him the most.
Yeah.
That's clear. There's other guys that are still developing, and they need to prove it before, in my mind, I can say, oh yeah, he's done it. Well, obviously, he hasn't done it yet. They've all shown flashes of amazing things. They're all great players. All of them can make tremendous plays. At some point, they need to take the next step and take, in my mind, more ownership of what they're doing in terms of the organizational level to do more things, to empower more people, to get more people on that train or that bus with you to head in the direction you want to go. Because I think The quarterback, in many ways, is the CEO of the team, certainly on game day. There's nobody that impacts the game more than the quarterback in NFL football.
I tell
You
y'all.
have to have the ability and the belief from the entire team, offensively and defensively, that
I'm gonna let him finish.
your word means so much. And how you act every day matters to all three phases of the game. So
The buck stops with you, bruh. Man, like I'm talking about when things is right, when things is going right, it's like, bro, everything cool, everything right, you know what I'm saying, everything great. But things start going wrong, or when we down, or we behind, or when it's something that's a play that need to be made, we got him. That's how they felt about Tom. We not tripping, bro. We got Tom. We not tripping, bro. We got Pat. We not tripping. That's how you gotta be, bruh. You can rush and get an MVP, 2-time MVP, whatever the case may be, but like, we not tripping, bruh. We got him.
you just don't think as a quarterback you go and you punch the clock. I did my job. I threw for 40 touchdowns. Why are we not winning?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing in the offseason to help your defense? What are you doing to push the personnel department to get people doing?
Talk heavy, Tom. Talk heavy. Talk to them Cincinnati Bengals over there, right? They put all that money in that offense, bro. They gonna give up 40. They gonna score 40, give up 40. This is why Patrick Mahomes followed the Tom Brady model when it come down to the business side of the NFL and the way he did his contract. And y'all try to clown him about, he needs to be the highest paid. We're doing Tom Brady career, bro. Most of it, I want to say like his New England tenure until like probably like the later years, he was never the highest paid. He was never the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Why? So you can put pieces around me so we can win. I want to be the greatest of all time. Come on, bruh. Why you think? Come on, man. Pay attention, bro. Pay attention, my nigga. That's crazy. I would never come out here and be like, man, Patrick Mahomes need to be the highest paid. Man, that man had like a $500 million contract over 10 years. Like, that shit was crazy, bro. Don't worry about that, man. We got to get these pieces around you so we can catch time. We trying to catch time. What you mean? We need 4 more. We got 4 more to go. Job not done.
Right thing. Are you involved in game planning? I mean, I used to do game plans.
Sure.
I used to walk in there and say, these are the things we're doing. Okay, I used to do my own walkthroughs. I used to go, all right, guys, I don't give a fuck if the coaches want to come. We're doing our walkthrough.
Right.
We're going to come up with our own signals. We're going to come up with our own, because this is what I need to be on the field to be successful. So that's what Peyton Manning did.
Yeah.
That's what Drew Brees did. That's what Phillip Rivers did. That, to me, is what the great quarterbacks do. So are these other guys going to come in and say, you know what, I know I'm getting paid a lot, and I know that I do a lot, but what can I do more so that we can accomplish more?